toxicology is defined as the science of detecting and identifying the presence of drugs and poisons in body fluids, tissues, organs. Toxicologists also might be called on to identify samples that's on clothing or from the scene. Okay, so they're the drug and poison people. Their main job is going to be working closely with the medical examiner. So during the autopsy, the medical examiner is going to collect tissue samples and fluids from the body, send them to the toxicologist, and they are going to look for evidence of something called biotransformation. And what this means is when you ingest a chemical, your body is going to try to either eliminate it from the body if it's a poison or convert it into something more usable. And these products that the body makes are called metabolites. And these are the things that the toxicologist can look for to let them know if a particular drug or poison was ingested. So for example, heroin breaks down into morphine in the body. So if morphine is detected in a tissue or fluid sample, then you can be fairly certain that heroin was ingested by the person. If you have a particular drug or poison sample that's unknown, you have a couple of different options for identifying that. Right, there are some tests for common drugs that are associated with crime scenes. Right, the first reagent you can use is called the Marquis test, and it's a clear reagent. And when it comes into contact with certain drugs, for heroin, morphine, and opium, as well as amphetamines like methamphetamine, it'll turn a particular color. Right, so for the Marquis test, it'll turn purple in the presence of heroin and a red-orange color in the presence of amphetamines. There's also the Scott test, which tests for cocaine, and for this one, you're looking for 3 different color changes. If it turns blue, then pink, then back to blue again within this test, then you have the presence of cocaine. And then the Duquesnoy-Levine test tests for marijuana, and this is also going to turn a purple color. So these are the main tests that will be used at a scene. They actually come in this little kit you can bring to a crime scene, and for the major drugs that are usually associated with crime. And now, if you're not entirely sure what the substance is, you have a couple of options. So you can do spot tests like we're doing in class. So testing for solubility, pH, how it reacts to stomach acid, and these can give you clues to what the substance might be. Now, it's not going to tell you 100% what it is, but it can help you narrow it down. So spot tests are very useful in that regard. But you really want to try to identify exactly what it is. So you can do some other analytical tests to help you with that. You can do a microcrystalline test. So for that, you let the particular substance crystallize and then look at its properties, like the shape of the crystal, the size, its general, aesthetic, and that could tell you what that particular substance is. There's also chromatography, but the really big one, it's really going to tell you what that substance is mass spectrometry. And this is called a chemical fingerprint, and I'll explain why in a moment. So what happens is, without getting into too much detail, is you have your substance that you want to find out what it is, and you vaporize it. So you heat it up and you send it into the gas phase, and during that process it's going to split into different components. Right now, depending on the mass of the different components, they will move through the machine at different speeds. So the ones with a lower mass will reach the sensor in the machine faster than the ones with a larger mass. So you get these as they come through the machine. Right, these peaks on this spectrum, so this would be like one component that hit the sensor, and this would be like another. And it forms these peaks on this spectrum, And this is basically like the ridges on a fingerprint. It is unique to each particular substance. So you get these peak patterns that you could match up against known samples and identify what you're working with. So this one would be for cocaine.